Hey guys, welcome back to the Tough Love Podcast with Dr. John O'Connor. Today's topic is about reinventing yourself. Today's topic for me is more about reinventing my practice and the vision of the practice that has been what it is for the past 20 years. With all the changes in insurance and competition and everything out there, it wasn't even so much a feel, it was necessity to change how my team, how I treat, to get the results I want, to practice the way I want, and to stay, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess stay on purpose with my vision, how I want to practice, how I want to exist. Almost like a Frank Sinatra, I want to do it my way. I don't want to be told by anyone how to practice and how long to spend with a patient. And so we really pivoted really hard in 2022, and it could have been really scary. I mean, I went out and, my partners, obviously, my wife, Jessica, was my partner, Dr. Horowitz, in practice, and was like, hey, listen, I really believe in this technology. It really helped me get me to healthy. And I think that it's something that, we can make a practice and location out of. And here we are in August of 2024, and we are probably one of the top providers in this style of practice in the state, and it's only growing. And, it was faith, a huge leap of faith. It was believing in the science, understanding the science. And I think most importantly, for me, it was attending and being a co-sponsor in a Shockwave credentialing seminar last year with that was led by the president of the organization, Dr. John Fernandez. And in that moment, I sat there and was blown away when I saw on the international realm all of these orthopedic and trauma surgeons talking about the science that I use. And sometimes I just chuckle when I run into friends that are, orthopedics and trauma surgeons, and they, they'll give me a hard time unless they're hurt. Then they want to try the technology, of course. But they'll say, oh, that's hokey, or that's this, or that's that. And, I sat there and watched these surgeons that were responsible for taking care of, major soccer club organizations. And it made me feel like, wait a minute. We're blinded by what's accepted by insurance and what's considered normal versus let's open our eyes and see what's out there to truly give our patients the best possible healthcare we can give them. And my daily routine has really, turned a lot of people's eyes onto, how my body is recovering at 50 and how I'm feeling. And you're talking about where I was at 4 or 5 years ago. I was a shell of what I am today, and I felt terrible. I had no energy. I was hurt all the time. And now I can manage just about anything. And obviously, I train different. I take care of my body different. But managing it with the science I use on a daily basis and what I bring to the practice has been an absolute game changer. And that's what we're talking about, is letting go of fear of what was always worked may not always work, right? And forever, there were so many practices, and, we're still a big name in Monmouth County, the county that we practice in, but, we practice entirely different. We approach patient care entirely different. And I, urge all my fellow practitioners to take a look at what we're doing. And again, I sit there and, when I create social media, there's so many eye-grabbing young therapists out there. They do a great job. I don't want to take anything away from them. But I think with their youth comes, a little arrogance, a little ego, and they attack other providers. And we don't show every aspect of what we do as far as exercise, but exercise, is and it is in my DNA. So every one of our patients are moving and exercising and doing stuff. So, forever, so I don't put that on my social media as much as I put the science as to what we do. And by the way, I'm talking about our business pages. But what I realize is I think we need to show the whole menu and really show people how we take people from being, sedentary because of injury back to activity. And I think painting that picture of success and that success story is really going to, bring light and bring a lot of positive attention to what we're doing. And that's what today's about. Today's about changing the script. And, I think that there's so many practices out there that I've been consulting with and coaching that are, they have analysis paralysis. They're afraid. They do what they've always done. But unfortunately, if you do what you've always done and it's not changing, it's very similar to the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So I think for me, I was definitely in that same rut that so many practitioners are in so many specialties. It's not just limited to, the genres that I employ or work with on a daily basis, such as acupuncture, chiropractic, physical therapy, and occupational therapy. But I think it's out there in many practices, whether I'm playing golf or on a, some type of a political event and talking to practitioners that are, selling their practices to private equity and doing everything they can to try to set themselves up for the next, for most of us, my friends, I'd say we're in the 4th or 5th inning of a 9-inning game. And they're looking to close the game with a W and make these best decisions they can make. And I'm in that same boat. And, at 50, I made a lot of decisions over the last 5 years. And again, I'm not one for blaming, right? To me, it's like you have winning streaks and you have losing streaks, and you can't have a winning streak with having losing streak first, we're on a great run for many years. And, maybe it was the team, maybe it was me, maybe it was the economic climate. Regardless of what it was, we came to that impasse where we had to change what velocity represented, what I represented. And that meant changing everything that I do, everything that I market, everything that I put out there, the way that I identify, speak, and treat the patient population that I work on. And now when I meet like-minded people and they hear how I treat, and how I treat myself, I'm never surprised anymore that they go right out and they're picking up a Mark Pro, or they're buying the cold lasers, or they're getting Normatex, or they want to come over and jump on my PEMF unit or wherever that may be. But the reality is that, the results don't lie. My testimonial, my living testimonial every day, is, that's my advertisement, right? And that's one thing that I encourage young practitioners to do is get out there and try it. I want to be a reference or resource for any young practitioner looking to, change how they practice and how they evolve. I had a young doctor that was with us for the last 3 months. He's moving on into a more traditional, chiropractic setting. A great young man, fine young man. And I wish him all the best in his future endeavors, but, like I told him, been there, done that. Right. And that's something that I've heard a bazillion times by a lot of practitioners that I'm friends with that have since retired, that are mentors of me coming into the game. And I said to him, I go, I think everybody in medicine has to experience that high volume game. It's the adrenaline rush of seeing a lot of patients, and regardless whether you're a plastic surgeon, orthopedic surgeon, physical medicine, whatever specialty you've mastered, I think there's something about that. But where I'm at in my career now, when I speak to young practitioners, I much rather have less patience and really look for perfection, right? And look to come up with the perfect plan. And by the way, sometimes the perfect plan is referring that patient out. I can't help them, right? And I think, you say, oh my goodness, you can't help them. They must get so frustrated. To be honest, I've gotten just as many hugs from people from being an honest healthcare provider than trying to do something for them that I can't deliver on. And I think, so many times in 2022, 2023, 2024, new business heads talk about deliverables and what they bring to the table and what they can deliver. And for me, that's results, and that's, eliminating pain, accelerating healing, getting people back to activities, getting them back to sports and recreation and their family, and doing things that they love and genuinely being happy. And, so again, today's podcast for me is all about realigning and, where we're going right now. I had a great interview today with a practitioner in a big corporate setting. And, she was voicing her concerns and her, essential disapproval of the big business she was working for. And it's about volume, and it's about, just billing and numbers. And being a business owner, being in practice for a quarter century, I can appreciate both sides. And when you have a big business and it's a big machine, you are not, it's not apples to apples, right? Because every carrier reimburses differently. You have patients that you're probably losing to have under your care, while some others are paying a ridiculous amount of money, and some are self-paying. And so when you talk about that, it's an amalgamation of so many different components. And so, that's the business side of it. Now the humanity side is to do a great job, get the person better, whatever time they're there, a week, a day, and half a day, hours, a month. Make it so it's impactful. Make it so that that person says that was the most amazing care by the most caring and selfless and genuinely wonderful people. And that's one thing that I think my staff misreads me a lot now in my, 20 plus year in practice, is when I run to bring a patient a pillow to make them more comfortable, or, I give them an ice pack for something that they were not treating, or they're not feeling well, their blood sugar's low, and I'm running to get them an orange juice or an apple juice or give them a granola bar because they're fasting. That care factor is something that we all need to work on and sharpen that blade, if you will. And not just the care we give, but caring. And, the shift that I'm going with right now has been, remarkably successful for the patient. It's been, although expensive to get in, it's profitable, so it's enjoyable. And I love being the outlier. I love being the person that is kind of challenging what status quo is. I love, offering something that no one else has, or very few, and being different. And that's something that makes me extremely happy. And, I think when we look for the end game, or what I want to do as I transition from practice to coach to, consultant, into finally retired, whatever age that looks like, I want to practice for as long as I can. And the way that I practice now, I could practice for another 20 years and be happy. And I hope that I have the same desire to, continue to learn about the advancements in science and utilize a culmination of classic chiropractic training with the modern physical medicine advancements and corrective exercise, nutrition. We refer to them as adjunctive sciences, because I feel like it's our job to educate, to make corrections, to reroute, our patients, to lead them to a better pathway, or at least a better direction than when they entered the door. So again, circling back to what today's podcast was about, it's okay to reinvent what you do in a business. And I've seen friends go from, successful logistic companies to owning landscape companies, and then doubling down during, a big snowfall season and investing in a ton of snowfall equipment, and then there being a snow drought for 3 years, and, not getting frustrated, but doubling down again and making sure that they are, building out their vision as the way they see it. And to me, when I have friends like that and they're like-minded and doing something that I would do, that I'm doing right now, it makes me so happy to know that you can grow, you can evolve, you can become, a remarkably balanced businessman or woman. All right. Because there's so many of my friends that are actually females that kick ass that I learn from every day. And, and that I have to say is like, to grow and to evolve and to become the best version of myself starts with that self-mastery and learning portion of saying, what's my goal? What's my game plan? What am I offering? Am I consistent? Am I doing what I need to do to, be, helpful and healthy to myself? And then what am I doing that I'm offering to, our patients and our population to benefit them? And I think that by doing that and being so consistent with that practice, I think it's been something that's really helped me grow as an individual and help those around me. I think when I hold interviews now, I think that if I look back to a younger version of myself, I would be arrogant and tell everybody how many patients I treat and how much money I make and that success. And now, been there, done that. I think it's about how happy are you? Are the results genuine? Are they lasting? Are you genuinely kind to your patients? Are you working so hard that you miss everything? Or are you able to have a balance between life, work, and family? And I think that when I look at it now, I'm capturing that. I'm doing a better job of being aligned with growth at a pace that I'm comfortable with. I think I heard a quote the other day and I said it earlier in the podcast, but I think it's so true with, how we live and what we do. And, when you have or look at life like it's a game or a sporting event, and you have life is a 9-inning game. And right now at 50, I'm in the 5th inning of it. And I have an opportunity to really have the best stretch of life that I can have. And, I'm beyond excited to, share that with people and bring people into this form of healthcare. And so, like I said, today's podcast for me is more about saying, I'm excited to be the, doing it different and even having my practitioners do it different and teach it different, deliver healthcare with education. And not every patient is going to agree with that model. It's okay. One of the things that I see that a lot of these young practitioners are doing, there's a physical therapist down in South Jersey right now, in the middle of a major renovation. Super proud of him. He's on the MedRay team with us with regards to having a soft shock and a laser. He's, definitely a stud, impressive individual. And one of the things that I see that he's doing that resonates with me is he's not, entrapping himself in, an insurance-based model. He is, definitely digging in and, doing something that I find to be super impressive. And what that is that he is, digging into, growing and building and really digging into life and how that's going. So closing up today's podcast, again, it was about redefining and recreating your business, whatever that is, to be the happiest version of yourself. And for me, August 2024, I look at this fourth quarter as the beginning of something amazing. My social media team has kind of pivoted. Our coaching has taken off, the social media platforms that we're working on. And so I would tell you, don't limit yourself, find like-minded people, stay on top of your growth mode and stay on top of what you're doing and don't stop pushing. That's my biggest, recommendation or suggestion or advice I can give you. And you know what? At first, it's small steps, and then all of a sudden you're taking bounds, you're running, you're sprinting, and then you're crushing it. So don't limit yourself. Don't put, restrictions on yourself. You can't. Just keep going, and you'll get there. Look forward to seeing your growth. See you soon. Thank you.